Hi everyone, it's me. So I just wanted to throw this out there, and some people might be surprised, but it is, first of all, it is June 17th at 5:48 p.m. 2025. So June 17th, 2025, it's 5:48 p.m. So I had this idea a little bit ago. I talked about a Star Wars series called The Black Fleet that was out, I believe, in 1997. I had posted about it before. I just randomly started this video, so I didn't actually check what the exact date was, but I'm pretty sure it was 97. I came upon it when doing some research about the Dark Fleet. Now, that was something that Corey Good talked about. There seems to be a need for incentive in many places. That means like motivation to get people to kind of make changes and even just changes within heart and mind about the world around them or about certain groups of people. Now, with the Dark Fleet and the Cabal, I'm just going to throw it out there and say that I don't think it is exactly as it's been said it is. I think that and feel that in some aspects it's kind of been made to be like the boogeyman. And that's like, how we had that fear of the boogeyman being in the closet, but then when you open the closet, you realize there's nothing in there. That's kind of what happened to me. From the information that I've released now and talked about on my channel, there have been people that have said that, they'll be off for talking about certain things. And, well, from the stuff that I've talked about here on this channel, and I mean, some people might say, "Oh, she's part of the dark side. This is a plan to attack me," or blah blah blah. But it's not. What I've been doing here is just sharing these things that I've been finding that certain stories that have origin to, like, for instance, the 3 days of darkness. This is why it's never actually happened, because the 3 days of darkness has to do with the Claustrum's oil. That has to do with the process of that holy oil. It's what it means to be anointed in oil. That rises from the bottom of the spine to the crown of the skull. It's your sacrum bone. Looks like the base of a shovel almost. So, like this. It's in the middle of your hip bones. So that's where that comes from. And so the oil or the seed actually stays at the seat in that of the soul, or the seat of that bone, and then it rises up to the crown of the skull after that. So that's what the 3 days in darkness is, because think of that as a seed, and then it sprouts up, and this would be like up above ground and to the sun, yes, for a flower. So it's symbolic, but they've been using that 3 days of darkness thing for years and years and years and years. But that's what it comes from. There's an origin to all this stuff. So, you know, making it seem like there's kind of this dark, negative force out there, it's almost kind of exaggerating it to be more than it actually is. Now, I've explained what the reptilians are. It comes from the secret teachings of all ages. And this comes from the teachings of the nature spirits and elementals, which goes back to ancient times. And they are referred to the salamanders, which are the spirits of fire. So, I mean, with all this stuff, I mean, I live in a town that has a gigantic, huge, like, it's embarrassingly large Freemason lodge, you know? A lot of people that I've tried to even talk to about the Gods of Eden, a book by William Bromley, have said, "Oh, my grandfather's a Freemason or my uncle's a Freemason." No, that's nonsense. That can't be true. Blah 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 blah. But the thing is, you'd think that they would have at least attempted to try to off me. And it's not that I'm asking for this stuff, but like, you'd think. And I know that my channel is not like a big deal or anything, and I'm not a big deal. Like, it's not like, there's a lot of people listening to me. I'm grateful for everyone that does, but it's just, I've researched this so long, and I mean, I've almost tempted them to try, you know, by pushing it as far as I can. So, I mean, first of all, Cabal comes from the word Kabbalah. One is spelled with a C, the other is with a K. I think it's Kaballah or something. But it can also, I believe, be spelled with a Q. And I kind of feel like that's where maybe Q came from. More Kabbalah nonsense. See, there has to be an incentive, like something's being done. The Alliance is a group of individuals that have agreed upon a narrative, right? Like, they've agreed upon, okay, there's this dark space force, and we have secret military force fighting them, and blah, 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 blah. Again, like, I don't know for 100%, but it pretty much seems like this is it. Because you gotta remember, the whole reptilian thing was started by David Icke, way back, I think, in the 70s. And I would agree that there are cold-blooded, lizard-like people, and there are evil people, and there are greedy people, but they're not actually lizard people. No. I used to think that because you don't think that human beings are capable of those kind of acts, but they are. When I was younger, I remember that it was told to me that evil hides inside human beings. And, you know, I know we don't think that our own people are capable of that. Those types of things, human trafficking and spirit cooking and all this crazy nonsense, but they are. Human beings will do dip, just disgusting, vile things for money and power and to keep it, you know? Am I denying that they get into like the darker magics and all this stuff? No, they probably are into all that stuff. But I think it's been blown out of proportion, like the boogeyman, so that we fear them, you know? Or we don't know what to do because it appears bigger than what we can handle. Yeah? I know, there'll probably be many people that disagree, and that's okay, you can. I'm not saying that the elites don't exist, like this ruling class of greedy, selfish people that want to remain on top of the pyramid because they like the money and the power and the way that the world's set up. They benefit from this, you know? It is very parasitical, but they're human. I'm not trying to cover up for anything. It's just that you got to think of it logically. You know that it is predatory minded. It's very selfish. It's very, they're like when David Icke used to talk about it, it it is true that they're like very cold blooded and lizard like, like I said, like you'd think they're a bunch of, cold blooded flesh eating rabid dinosaurs, But I mean, I've met some celebrities, not all of them. Like I was thinking about the time that I met Gene Simmons at the House of Blues on the Sunset Strip. He wasn't a lizard man, okay? He wasn't. He was actually quite a gentleman, and I didn't get a feeling of him at all. Don't know if people would say that he's a lizard person, but um, I lived out there in Hollywood. Well, it was about an hour and a half outside, but it wasn't actually. It was in San Bernardino County, so I didn't live in Los Angeles County, but um, I was out there a lot, and I'm not disagreeing and saying that these people aren't evil. That they're very selfish, cold-blooded, and psychotic and sick. They most likely are. But I think it's easier to blame it on some evil alien reptoid species than to accept that it's our own people, and that everyone here, maybe the reason why it's called a prison planet is because we're all being rehabilitated, and some of us just aren't behaving as well as the rest of us, if you could see it like that. So yeah, there is a video that I'm going to watch. Cliff High is going to be on Stephen Cambion tonight, and I just wanted to get my feelings out there. Like I said, the alliance, like people like David Wilcock, Corey Good, and whoever else, aligned with this secret space force and the military fighting them and underground aliens. And I think that there was a lot done to get us to realize, the real toxicity within the ruling class and our governments, you know, even within our maybe religious orders and stuff like that as well. Religious denominations and things like that. Kind of, well, like what they used to say, cleaning out the swamp, but a little differently. I don't know. It still feels like, um, whereas one group or secret society or cabal group of individuals has been taking ruling for some time now, it just seems like we're shifting into something a little bit different. But it is a little bit like, here's the new boss is same as the old boss, you know. And I've been feeling that for some time, so I just wanted to throw it out there. That Star Wars series was out in '97. The Gods of Eden was out in '96. I'm pretty sure there was some kind of conference around that time in the '90s that had a large impact upon um, the UFO community. I think that and feel that, like Corey Good said in his deposition, that there needs to be incentive given and that there's things done for the public relations, like to get it out to the public. So they kind of have to, make up stories. Like I said, I would have never have known who Ishmael Perez is if he didn't make up that stupid lie about Elena Denan. So I don't agree with it, but this is what's going on. There is no actual alliance. That Q nonsense isn't real. Shadows of Ezra isn't real. And I think at one point he may have known that, and that's why he was going to quit. But then they're like, oh, this movement. See, they think that this is how they're ascending consciousness and all this is good for us. You know? Like having us believe in these things, like Corey Good said in his deposition, people believe in false things all the time. And, does it help with the development of consciousness and, the workings of the heart and the mind and the balance of those two things? Sure. Uh, but I think it's come to a time when people have had enough of all that. And if you truly, like I said, if you truly care and have faith in humanity, then you'll have faith in them that they'll do the right thing with the information. And, if given the truth the proper way, I think that it would truly be the thing that helps us. You know? I don't know, though. I'm just throwing in my 2 cents about all of this because I've had a feeling about this for a while. Like I said, I would have expected them, to do something by now, but they haven't. So I'm just wondering, like, well, the Cabal has probably been blown way out of proportion, just like the boogeyman. There's no monster under the bed, and there's none in the closet. I know that we would like there to be. I'm not saying that there's not a spiritual war or a war on the mind or even a war on consciousness, because I don't know. I don't want to go on about too much things, but it was about, I seen a video from, it was a lecture, like talk, whatever it's called, by Rudolf Steiner. It's only a few minutes long, about 7 minutes, I think. And he talks about a jab that can be given to dull the spiritual senses. And I will add that below. Um, I did post it on my Telegram, but I don't know how many people saw that. And I'm wondering if that had anything to do with things. Kind of take the spirituality away, because this is how I feel artificial intelligence and that chat GPT is being pushed so much. Because, I mean, I never use it, I don't need it. I rely on my connection to source. And I feel like it really helps with the development of the heart and the mind and your connection with your creator if you kind of try to figure these things out for yourself. It's how you kind of build upon the building blocks of your intelligence. You know what I mean? Or like a muscle, you got to work it out. So I kind of just think about these things. I'm not saying that I'm right about this dark fleet. I mean, the government has their own stuff going on with, what we would call UFO, or craft of unknown origin, UAPs, ARV, which is an alien reproduction vehicle. They have their own stuff like that. And like, there could be in cahoots with this higher society, or these people that have gone through these cycles already and kind of graduated out of here. Um, it could be something like that. But I don't really know anymore. I'm just doubting the whole thing. Like I said, the alliance, anybody who says like they're part of the alliance or da 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 da, they're just part of the alliance of bullshit. Because they'll just keep going on and on to try to keep this narrative alive. In a way, it's giving hope, but it's false hope. It's not real. So it's just kind of like coasting us through these years. And I said, if all we have is till 2030, reset 2030, then, well, they're doing a really good job of distracting everyone, aren't they? You know? But anyway, there's my 2 cents, and I've said it now. It's 6:04. I've said it now. Yeah, and that is how I feel about that. You know? I mean, I don't I don't actually know what we can do. I'm not saying do not do anything, but I don't know, as regular people, what we can do to overthrow this kind of power structure without some type of outside help. I know that people think, well, you know, well, it can. It's going to take a long time, though. Maybe the struggle that people are feeling now financially is going to, with pain and stress and struggle, there is growth, I guess. I don't know. But maybe consciousness will evolve and ascend this way naturally. But I don't know. It's just a shame, because I guess we just have to endure. But yeah, I'm not saying that the good isn't out there or whatever. There, I'm praying every day that there's like this turnover point where good overtakes evil, where the ages switch over. But like I was saying, unless we really reach for that, like to tell the truth, to be genuine, not this give them an incentive and exaggerated stories to sell books and like to get this information out there. No, 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 no. You're still helping the ruling class. Oh, hang on 1 second. That was just my dinner. It needs about 5 more minutes. So, yeah, it's not that there isn't a galactic federation or the Iron Blues or the outer space police as I see them. There is a force of goodness, and they are a group of people that do want to make things better for everyone in the multiverse, and in this world, in this universe as well. Um, but I just don't know how much interference they can have with the natural way of things and the way that the cycles start and end, if you understand that. I'm hoping so. I really am. Um, but maybe it's true that it shows up, at that last moment when you think that it's not going to, and it happens like that sometimes. And we can always hope for that, you know, just when you think all hope's lost or whatever, we can hope for that, but we can also become something different and more. I think the whole point is they really do want to keep people reincarnating into these cycles over and over here so they can remain in power and, keep as many of us trapped here as possible. And maybe that's why they withhold this sacred information. Like I was reading in the Initiates of the Flame, it says that this is the birthright of all mankind, to know these things, to know that this is a school and that there are greater colleges and universities out there that we are to join. But it's like they don't want us to get to them. They want us to keep doing this school over and over and over, yeah? So, and like I said, because it benefits them, they like that. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I am going to watch that program with Cliff High and Stephen Campion later. And we'll see what they have to say. You know, it's not that the whole thing isn't real. There is like, I'm just wondering how it will manifest from the unseen to the seen realm. You know what I'm saying? Because there's stuff going on in the unseen realms and the spiritual realms, and it's just not how they say it is. It's kind of a federation. I don't know about the term galactic because it gives people this different idea. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, the only thing that I have experienced this as is in the spirit body. I've never got to shake hands with one of these people in the blue suits that I call the outer space police in real life. It's it's always been in my spiritual life, which you know, I've talked about in my last video. So I'm just wondering, if it all is to get us, like, to motivate us, like, oh, if you're not good, then Santa won't bring you anything for Christmas. You'll just get coal. And actually, that has to do with the Claustrum's oil. Santa Claustrum, like Saint Claustrum, holy oil. Yeah. So, I don't know. I hope you're all doing well. I think I forgot to say that, but I do. I'm doing well. I went for a nice walk today. I took some time at the beach yesterday. I didn't go in the water or anything because it looked right yucky. It was right gooey and algae-like and slimy. I don't want to go in there. It's still a little bit too cold as well. But yeah, so I'm doing well. And there. Now I've said what I have to say about that. Because I have a feeling that's what they're going to say about that. You know, it's just unfortunate, because it it did benefit us, but it's also benefiting the elites, the ruling class. This is why I have an issue, even though my channel's not monetized on YouTube, you know, I'm still using it, and I know who this all the companies are owned by, the same sources. So I don't know. This is why I'm thinking like it's all the same thing, and probably the higher societies are also, like, these breakaway civilizations are also involved with the resets and such, and then they may come and join the society after, or whatever happens, I don't know. But that's what it's looking like at this point, because they say there's being arrests, this and that, and it just continues to be a shit show. So it seems like they are just causing as much stress, pressure, and displacement, all these things, and causing us exhaustion. So that even if we do figure out what to do, we're too tired to do anything about it. Yeah. And then, prospering at the expense of others and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get my dinner now. I hope you guys all have a good night. I'm gonna do a live stream really soon, okay? Take care everyone. Bye.